Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 33 of the Hot Path Show. I'm Johnny, joined in by Tobias. Welcome in, Tobias. How's it going today? Afternoon. It's afternoon. The day's been going for a little while here, so yeah. Apologies for the delay. If anyone's catching this live here, we had a little bit of a technical snafu. So we got Tobias joined in over Discord, and he's using his cell phone as a webcam right now. So we're just kind of all held together with chopsticks and duct tape and all that. Right? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. How's the move going? It always adds up. Okay, they say they can't hear you. I think, um, I thought I shared the audio here. There we go. They can hear you now.
Can you hear me now? Blah blah blah. Dot is great.
Dots is great. But yeah, they should be able to hear you now. Hopefully the volume level is good and everything like that. Okay, we can hear you. Beautiful.
Yes,
Thank you very much, Wayne
beautiful,
Games.
beautiful.
And yeah, just a few days from Unite Barcelona here. It's getting real close. I leave Monday, so just a couple more days away for me.
Well, right. Is it getting flight nervous or are you a regular flyer?
No, no, no. I'm totally fine with flying. It's just the overseas flying is just going to be a long flight. I think I'm like literally like the very last row of the plane for that. It'll be like a 7 hour flight from. I think I go Chicago to Barcelona. So yeah, it'll be
Ooh, I hope you don't. I hope it's not one of those annoying where you can be without a window seat because you're too far back.
well. So the layout of the plane, it has like three kind of sections of 3 seats each. Like it's a big plane, so it's like a three, three, three. So I'm kind
Ah,
of
right,
in
right.
that middle section. So I'm on the aisle, so I'm not like the middle seat, but
I flew from the UK to Sweden, and I was situated. It was a small plane because it's like 1.5 hour flight or something, and I was situated all the way back to the left, and I did not have a window at all, and it was so disorientated. I couldn't see out anywhere. I didn't have an angle to see out, and I just when I got down. I was like, I was not nauseous, but my brain was like, it felt like if you ever tried to like stare with one eye for a while, and you get sort of your brain is like, what's going on? I
right.
don't have,
Like you don't have
yeah,
that
it
like
was,
point of reference, that depth perception. Like you kind of almost get a little like vertigo or something.
yeah, it was super weird. I had to just sit down for like half an hour to just catch my brain up because I was so confused. Yeah, I was never doing that again.
That sounds wild. Well,
It's
yeah. Anyways, so yeah, once again, we got Unite Barcelona coming up in just a bit here. So yeah, real quickly, I do want to mention that they have the full session schedule available for Unite Barcelona up here. Let me change this a little bit so that's a little bigger. But yeah, so we have yeah, all the talks here. So there's a bunch of actually ECS talks if you kind of go through it. So there's a kind of a multiplayer one where they talk about some netcode for entities stuff, as well as kind of some other um, kind of just regular multiplayer type stuff. We have some technical artist tools, interactive music to the game, the after party, factory agents. Actually, let's just go ahead and do a quick Control F search for dots here. So of course there's connecting the dots, which is Danny's talk that he's going to be doing with his coworker Anna, called "Let's Make a Game with Entities," where they're basically going to be, well, making a game with entities, as you can imagine. Um, let's see, Deep Impact optimizing Outer Wilds for a new platform. They do have dots kind of in one of the topics here, so not really sure if there's anything, what specific dots things they're going to be talking about in there, but could very much be interesting.
It's a little bit burst and jobs.
I,
That's a
I could
typical thing
imagine,
in
yeah, yeah. Um, there also was, I think, the cities skylines people had a
Oh, you need
talk.
to show more. You're
Ah,
not all the way down. That's
yeah.
I'm sure there's more dots thing. I think you can just search dots again.
Okay, yeah, I
You'll
think
find it.
that should be all of them. So dots.
Yeah, tapping
Okay, so
the
yeah, let me make sure we didn't skip one. So yeah, Outer Wilds. So yeah, tapping the entity component system for Cities Skylines 2. So actually, they're going to be talking about some ECS topics here. Yeah, definitely, this will be a really cool one. I feel like
that's
I feel like I might have a conflict during this time. Um, Actually, I think I can pull up
mm,
my schedule here.
yeah. There's a ooh.
Let me not
I feel like City Skylines is like the hand in the glove when it comes to dots and using dots for something good, like a billion small little people running around and or simulating small things.
yeah, yeah.
Perfect application.
Exactly, yeah. So yeah, I did have this one as one of the ones that I wanted to attend. Unfortunately, some of them kind of overlap by like 15 minutes or so, and you can't, add multiple to them. So my thing's looking a little bit sparse right here, but
There is the
otherwise,
academic 15 minutes. Have you heard about that?
the what now?
The academic 15 minutes or quarter. It's like every presentation at the university in Sweden it starts 15 minutes past like full clock.
It just kind of like any particular reason, or that's just like how the scheduling kind of works
I
out.
think it's like generally speaking, every lecture is like 1 hour and 45 minutes, and the first quarter is like for everybody get seated. So maybe it's like that kind of thing going on.
I don't know, maybe. Well, I think it's just like they have different, like the talks are like different
Oh
lengths.
yeah,
Like some are
that's
like
fair.
an hour, some are half an hour, and all this.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, yeah. So let's see, where were we here? So the Unity Engine roadmap. So this one
Ooh,
they do kind of mention some dot stuff in here. I do unfortunately have another obligation for the latter half of this that I think I have to be there a little bit prior to. So I don't think I can unfortunately make the Unity Engine roadmap one. But Tobias, sounds like
yeah.
you're going to be at this one.
Yeah, yeah. That's for me. That's like the most interesting one. I just want to know where the hell we're going with this.
Yeah, yeah. I should point out that the Unity Engine roadmap is different than the main like keynote talk. They're going to be giving the keynote talk kind of at basically the beginning of Thursday,
I feel
and
like this
then
is the juicy stuff, and the keynote is like for more like 30% for investors also.
yeah, 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 yeah. The keynote's going to have all the flashy new sizzle reels and here's all the games made with Unity and everything like that. Whereas the Unity Engine roadmap is going to be a little bit more technical, kind of going into things here.
Yeah.
Um, oh yeah, and it's also this one, Time Ghost. So I'll just go ahead and read this here. Explore the creation of Time Ghost by the Unity Originals team. Will break down the project and its pipelines into clear, understandable components, highlighting Unity Engine's versatile problem-solving capabilities and extendability. Will be focused on essential Unity 6 features like ECS, Centis, HDRP, VFX, Graph. You'll see that no idea is too ambitious to achieve with Unity 6, and leave the session inspired with fresh ideas for your current and future projects. Um, so yeah, this the Unity Originals team. I think these are the people who kind of create, all the really good looking, like 1 to 2 minute long kind of cinematic videos.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so this might be
Yeah,
a little peek into what's going on with their latest thing.
I love cinematic work tools and stuff like that. Not that I think it was kind of stupid for them to buy Weta, just to point that out. But otherwise, I'm like all into the cinematic tool set, and that's super fun. So this
Yeah,
should be something to look forward to.
yeah, for sure. Let's do a quick last little check on ECS. I think we hit everything here. Yep, cool. So yeah,
Unless,
that is
unless
Unite.
it show more all the way down again. I don't remember.
I think we're good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, good stuff.
I also have a Valio Racer XR experience, but the waitlist is full for the whole thing. So
Have you seen any like indication of the how advanced the different talks is? Because I couldn't find anything when I looked.
you mean
Like
like
this,
how technical the talks will be, kind of
yeah,
thing? Um, yeah, they don't specify. It looks like for the
because
most
like
part, but there it in the past it's definitely varied. Like some of them have been a little bit more high level, kind of approachable to newer users, things like that. And then some of the other ones are definitely a lot more
be-
technical and in depth.
because like stage three, level one, that's completely for where you're supposed to be, right?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Since
yeah. This
they're
this is like the
yeah,
yeah the physical location.
yeah, that's what I assume too. Because I mean, there's a one talk about profiler going through the features that are in
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
profiler.
That was
That
another
was
good
like
one.
I think it was fully booked when I looked. I couldn't reserve
Oh yeah, this says
spots.
waitlist
Yeah,
full.
yeah.
Yeah, no kidding.
And for me, it's like I don't know if that's like something like beginner to intermediate to slightly advanced. Then I probably not. I need like deep technical talk about fancy other because that's literally what I work with all the time. So I expect there's nothing new for me there. But I don't know. Maybe it's a super advanced talk.
Okay, yeah. I was seeing if Danny's talk was full, but it looks like you can still add this one to your schedule here.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no.
I think that's like the only one that was full when I looked.
Um,
Oh,
the
now I
the
lost it.
BMW one is as well.
That seems like an ad for me.
Let's see if there are any other waitlist full ones. Waitlist full on getting the best performance with UI Toolkit. If you're one of those UI Toolkit users.
We talked about this before, right? That none of us was particularly super fancy about it. It seems like just a different type of optimization for the workflow.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, yeah. And here's an addressables one where the waitlist is full. But
Yeah, I can imagine because addressables is so confusing. Everybody like, please tell us the secrets how to use this stuff.
yeah. So yeah. Anyways, yeah. Unite's going to be a very exciting time. I'm very much looking forward to it. And by the way, let me remind you that of course, myself, Tobias, and Danny are all going to be there, and we have a whole bunch of stickers available for the Hot Path show. So yeah, come get your stickers if you see us at Unite.
Are we still the only podcast about dots?
I don't know of another one. I mean, Code Monkey hasn't started one. I don't think Wayne Games has started one.
No, yeah. So we're like we're the whole hot shit because the biggest
The
engine in the
biggest
world
dots.
and their next generation tech, and we're the only podcast covering the big leap forward in tech,
That's
the
right.
biggest engine. Yeah.
Are we maybe even the biggest data-oriented podcast?
Could be. I don't
Think
know
about it.
about many data oriented podcasts. Yeah. Funny.
Well, yeah, and then I guess let's see, we can get you back up on stage here. Yeah, Wayne Game says
Woohoo!
too busy
Too busy
watching to
watching.
host one. Very good.
Yes. Love that.
Yeah, and then so yeah, let me just remind you real quick that if you do want to, you can support us over on Patreon as well as through YouTube memberships. So you can go to patreon.com/turbomakesgames, or just hit the little join button below the YouTube video here, and then you'll have access to a bunch of bonus content that we create. So we do like monthly bonus videos as well as other Q&A type stuff, some behind the scenes access depending on what tiers you're on and all that. So yeah, I'll probably be doing some bonus things along the lines of Unite Barcelona coming up. Of course, some definitely fun stuff there. So look forward to that. So yeah, let me think. The next thing that I want to discuss with you. Oh, this is kind of like supposed to be kind of the warm up topic, but we kind of started getting into some of the Unite stuff here. But I saw this. Go out.
Yeah.
Ooh, we could
Oh
do
yeah,
that.
we're
Wow.
not meant to have brand.
So yeah, this is Ryan Fleury, who some of you may recognize. He's kind of part of the handmade community, I guess. I think he's kind of maybe done stuff with Casey. He works at Rad Game Tools, which is now owned by Epic, and I believe Casey Muratori worked at Rad Game Tools for a very long time. So there's a little bit of a through line there. And so yeah, he posts a lot of stuff, just kind of related to, like, I think he programs in like C mostly, and so he's kind of very much of the kind of handmade type mindset and all this. So he posted this thing here, and I kind of just wanted to get your thoughts on it, Tobias, and we can talk about this a little bit here. It seemed to be mostly kind of a shit post, but I think there is maybe a little bit of validity to it here. But
Oh,
uh,
okay. I
so
haven't
the
seen it yet.
yeah, so it basically he said stop doing version control. Projects were not meant to have branches. Years of pushing to Git, yet no real world use found for pushing anything but latest for pushing to anything but latest master. Wanted to make a temp copy of a project? We had a tool for that called folders. Yes,
Yeah.
please give me 2CC181BA of something. Please give me git cherry pick of it. Statements dreamed up by the utterly deranged. Look at what DevOps has been demanding your respect for all this time with PCs and code. We built for them. This is real VCS done by real programmers. And it has like all these branches and stuff with all these question marks on here. Hello, I would like to get rebase, please. They have played us for absolute fools. So,
So, where is the serious point in this? I ask.
um, yeah, I don't know. I thought it was funny and kind of something interesting to bring up because I mean I'm assuming that you are a user of source control and find some value in it. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've been on SVN, Mercury, on Perforce, Git, and yeah, that should be it for now. Yeah, four different ones I've worked on. None of them, well, Git I've chosen on the last because it's GitHub is free and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or free for the I pay for a few gigabytes for
For the
large
extra
files.
storage. Yeah.
Yeah, but otherwise, yeah, I'm using it. But yeah, I guess if you want a few hot takes on this, I can tell you right away. Like, I do think that we have invented a lot of things for uh, Git to, we have invented problems for Git to solve. Like, like people are like, oh, we need to do feature branches and blah 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 blah. Oh, I need to lean in this way. I need to lean
I was
in
trying to see if I could. The little arrows
Yeah,
pop.
it's fine.
I need to get
I
that
can
one pixel. Okay, there you
yeah,
go.
like that. Yeah. Yeah. I do think there's a little bit of a like, oh, we need to feature branch this and feature branch that, and you need to do all of that and stabilize stuff before we put it into main and like obviously pushing to production or whatever the mean way of saying it's maybe not the best idea, but still it's like at Dunlock, we basically, I think the main purpose of branches was like when we had a release, So we like, stabilized before, like a week or two before we were supposed to release the game. So like you went through the lead engineer to push something onto that branch, so people who weren't, involved in the latest, could just, or wasn't involved in the release too much, could just keep on chucking and didn't worry about breaking the latest patch that was going out soon, stuff like that. And also, oh, we're upgrading Unity, we need to have this parallel thing where somebody just tries to see how much everything breaks into a pile of rubbish when we upgrade Unity, and if maybe it works, maybe we can remerge the things.
Right.
Those were the two real reasons. Otherwise, mostly I worked on, you have a develop, and then you have the main, and you push in develop to main when you feel like you're something good to going and you need to push to release. And everything outside of that, I feel for game developing, it's kind of making your life harder than it needs to be.
Why would you say that it's making your life harder?
I mean, the feature branches and stuff like that. It's
Oh, okay,
um,
okay. Just you're saying outside
yeah,
of the basic uses of Git, like,
yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah, you
so
have, yeah,
stabilizing stuff for releases, or with branches, or maybe trying something very novel, but or very different, like upgrading Unity or something like that. That's the thing that you could do for a different branch. But generally speaking, I feel like you should just like it. A game is so intertwined that it's like hard to separate stuff anyway. If you can separate it to a different thing, then it probably doesn't even interact with the game enough to be that big of a deal to have on the main develop branch either. So it's like, if it's actually a problem for the continuous development, then yeah, I don't know. It's hard. I just feel like people are complicating their work process a little bit by having feature branches for stuff sometimes.
right, yeah, yeah, yeah. I know there's, yeah, definitely some people who can take, version control to the absolute extreme, where you're like opening feature branches for every different little bug, and then you kind of work on them in there, and then
Yes.
merge to some kind of intermediary branch, and then goes through some kind of approval process to get up to the main master branch and all this. And I mean, I kind of like understand that there are certain companies who like really want to cover their bases and like have to kind of have a lot of that stuff in place. But yeah, it definitely seems like a lot of that is really just kind of getting in the way from you know writing the code that actually does the thing, right?
Yeah, yeah. I feel like it's a weird point in the whole process and domain of the problem of software development to try to, not weird, but basically, but maybe not necessarily the most perfect place to try to up the quality, because like, oh, you're making, I have a actual old colleague who left Stunlock to make software for cancer detection machine.
Hmm.
And that's the kind of thing where you probably get jolted into a lot more stable. But then it's like, well, I I I think like the develop branch of whatever that software is probably like 10 times more stable than whatever master branch a game has anyway. Like it's like, do you really need to have like a different branch for that kind of, I don't know. It feels like the develop branch and the main branch should like reflect the overall game, the overall product stability anyway. Like I don't know. And also like it's like I don't know if this applies, but the expression dog food development, like
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, that's kind of a thing. Like just push it to, so the whole team has it, and you will find the bugs early and quickly, because like maybe you'll stop the production for 2 hours, but and everybody will be mad at you because you stopped production and with your bug. But you need to you need to find those quickly and just move on.
Right.
So
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
I agree with you again. Like, I think version control, there certainly are some benefits to use, but trying to be as minimal with it as possible. And I mean, for me, I work, you know, primarily on projects myself or, you know, on very small teams. So, you know, for the most part, you know, we're just kind of working on our own separate portions of the project. And of course, you know, having some type of version control in place to handle some of the merge conflicts, you know, is helpful for those cases. You know, but for myself, I think there are three kind of primary reasons that I think that I kind of like to use version control. Some of them maybe a little bit more unconventional uses, but I think one of the kind of more conventional uses for me is, you know, I think you kind of subscribe to a similar philosophy of, you know, if you don't need some code, you know, delete it. And I'm just kind of like trying to be a little bit more of like a serial code deleter and just kind of like, you know, just removing things from the project that should not be in there at all. And I think having that kind of backed up in source control is there definitely is a benefit to it. You know, especially when you're deleting some, you know, pretty complex system and, you know, you kind of have some replacement for it, but then maybe down the line, maybe you did just want kind of some small portion of that. You can kind of go through your history and like that still kind of is tracked for there. And you don't have to again worry about like how this is saying, you know, you want to make a temp copy of a project. We had a tool for that called folders. Like you don't have to
Yeah.
specify like, you know, project, you know, main project underscore one underscore final underscore latest, right?
That was the way we did it in university, but yeah, I completely agree. Like, I so often on the current part on sulfur, I'm like, let's just get rid of it, and we'll see if something breaks. Or I no, I don't even discuss it with the team sometimes, and it's not my. But
Right.
I move fast, and I want them to get the most use out of me for the hours they have me. So
Yeah.
I'm just like, yeah, just whip it out, and if something goes bad, I'm like, you always have Git. We just go back and see what the hell was going on there before, and then it'll be fine. And we Git have saved us like a few times, and it's like, oh, thank God we have Git you can see. But no, yeah, that's the point. Like, just delete it, and if it blows up, you can just go
Yeah.
back, have a look, and see what was going on. And
Right.
and a lot of times I backed out the project like 2 weeks, and just reloaded it and like tested something. I have three parallel checkouts of the same project, so I can have them and do stuff parallel when it's like, oh, there's a blocker on this problem, and I don't want to mess that up with doing another issue, done another feature on the same checkout, and then like, oh, and we need to compare these two implementations. So I'm backing this one up 2 weeks, and I'm just like looking and seeing what the execution differences are and stuff like that. Like, it works great.
Right.
We only
Yeah.
have a developer branch.
That's definitely like something you can do for like tracking down bugs. Like if you say like, okay, I know at this point in the project this was working without any bugs, you know, let me revert to there and then you can step through the project commit by commit and until you get to the point where, you know, that bug occurs and that can kind of narrow it down. Like, you know, if you're kind of like at that point where that bug is just impossible to track down, like it's just kind of another
Uh,
tool available.
dude, I completely agree, but also like so many times where like not necessarily sulfur, but they have happened a few times where like I do rework something for performance reason, and then I like showing and I'm like going through it with somebody on the team who have worked on it for 3 years. Like, is this looking like it should be doing? And I'm like, and there's a quirk here, but that's how your graphical style works, and it's a little bit tricky to get. They're like, no, that no, this shouldn't be like, because they have sprite that turns against the billboard sprite
Oh
that
yeah,
turns
yeah,
against the
yeah.
camera. And I remember like showing like, this thing, it turns a little bit, but there's no real answer to how to turn this. So it's gonna look a little bit weird from this angle because that's how you. They're like, no, that can't be right. And like you go back and then when I'm like spending half an hour to go back in Git and reloading an old version of the game, and then I go back and then I'm streaming the game and I'm showing like, oh yeah, never mind, it was all it was like that all along.
You're like, oh well, okay. I guess I just never noticed that.
Never noticed that problem because I was like, I don't know how you solve this. Yeah, you didn't solve it. I knew it, and it's fine. It looks good. We never look at it from this angle. So it's, yeah. It happens more than once that I'm like showing something, somebody's like pointing something out. No, this should be like this because I've been on some project where I, rework system, and then I go back, and then we look at it and like, no, it didn't. It was like this all along.
That's really
It's
funny.
kind of funny. Yeah.
Going back to the point of like pulling, like retrieving, previously deleted code, do you use any of the built-in, like git cherry pick commands or anything like that? Or are you more just kind of like find what you need, copy paste it into the latest of what you're working on?
I often stash my changes and then I right click in Git clocking, which I most often use, and I just check out this commit. I don't know if that's the same as share pick. I never used share pick, but I'm just like, backing out. I never, pick out a commit out of order and put it in somewhere else or something that I'm like, nah, good at. But there's a lot of times where I'm just like, oh, this prefab is weird. I don't know what's going on here. Maybe some of my automatic asset processing tools have blown it up, and then I just go into GitHub and I literally just like navigate through the history until I find the exact version of the game where I knew it was working. I
Right.
open the raw asset file for the prefab and I just copy it out and put it in, and I'm like reloading, like what did it look
Gotcha.
like?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, sounds like
Yeah,
you're doing
that's
it a little bit more kind of manually.
yeah, but it's also like there's very rarely where, the thing that I want to look at is sort of in an isolated state somewhere. The isolated state is what I make of it when I pick it out, isolated out of the Git
Gotcha.
history.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's no Git share pick commit that I can pick out unless I just back the whole project down to that point.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you do the same?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, again, like, yeah, just kind of find what I need. And yeah, for the most part, I'll just kind of, copy paste the code like off of GitHub if it's just something simple, or just, download the files, import those into the project. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So
I, I've
usually it works
I've
out pretty
had
well.
a we had a very, very annoying issue that's like not really anybody's fault. But since software is made with Pro Builder mostly, and Pro
Right.
Builder, and I talked about this like a month ago or something, or maybe even longer, has the definitive copy of the mesh in the scene and in the prefab. So if you pull in a prefab or just make a Pro Builder stuff in the scene or in the prefab, it like whatever it comes from, whatever you do, you will have a distinct copy of the full mesh data inside of that prefab or scene. There's no like, oh, I'm putting in a prefab with so the mesh data is in this prefab. No, it's like unpacks the whole scene, the whole thing always in wherever it's used, and that results in the biggest goddamn prefab files I've seen in my life. There's like 120 megabytes of these things.
Dang.
Yeah, and so then you want to diff that, and you're like, nope. Git just like, are you nuts? You're
It's
gonna
just
diff
like
120
it's
megabytes?
like everything.
Yeah, so it just blanks and it's like it's a binary file. I don't know what's going on. If you want to commit it. So then and that's annoying because then you can see what changes you made to the thing.
Right, right,
So,
right.
but a lot of them have been dieted down by my tools a lot. So now I can diff a few of them, but still, that's very annoying when Git just like, no, I can't diff it. It's too large of a file.
Yeah. And then yeah, I'll say the two other kind of more minor uses of version control that I do like a lot is I try to do like commits for different steps towards a kind of like a goal, right? And then so I guess as I'm going along, I end up doing a lot of kind of like intermediary steps where I'm like putting in debug statements and have like little bits of test code and all this. So I think like a commit is like a good time for me to kind of basically review all the code that I've just written and then go through and say, okay, like let me remove all these debug statements. Okay, this is just some test code. I can get rid of that. Just so I don't like forget about it when again, we're talking about having stale code in your project. That's something that
Yeah.
like I just don't want cluttering up. So it's kind of like a good cleanup method for me to do, kind of a couple times a day as I kind of like, clean out a different part of the, feature that I'm working on. Again, I can kind of go through, get rid of that kind of extra stuff that I don't need.
Yeah. It
Um,
blows my mind sometimes when I see people when somebody's screen sharing with me and like they're about to commit something and they just like
just
just
blindly,
like
yeah.
and just committing. I'm like, What? Left four files. We just picked the one file, some changes.
Right.
We just push it up, and I'm like, are you crazy?
Yeah, and often you'll
What?
see there's like extra, like namespaces that you're not even using for things because you maybe
Yes.
accidentally typed in some type and then it came in with the namespace for that. So it's like you can just get rid of all
Yes.
that.
The most annoying is like some editor related thing, and you like push up, and then you break the build of the game, and you're like, oh,
Like,
God damn it. You should be able to like blacklist like Unity editor from like
mm,
getting automatically pulled in or something.
that'd be interesting.
That that would be a good feature for writer as the fancy high tier editor.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And then yeah, the third kind of use that I've kind of find valuable is for because I do a lot of contracting type stuff, so it just kind of like helps me remember what I did for each day. So if I need to like provide the client like a little bit of a write up of what I did for that day or the week or whatever, I can just kind of go through and I have that whole commit log where it's like, okay, I worked on this for this many hours and also did this and had some problems with this or whatever, and it just kind of like is just kind of like a built-in log, um, of things that I did for the week, and it kind of forces me to do that as I'm developing, rather than like having some, thing off to the side where I'm like taking notes about what I did. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be like that for me sometimes too. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess what to say is there's definitely a lot of value in version control, but I think people can definitely get carried away with it. So
Yeah. I've seen some branch trees from colleagues of mine who work with web development, and I'm not gonna throw them under the bus, but maybe I can throw their their culture a little bit on the one of the wheels at least. Like, that's crazy. Calm down with your branches, huh?
oh yeah,
But I don't know. I don't know. It's not my field with how other software development industries are doing it really.
yeah, yeah.
It's hard to judge if you haven't done it actually yourself.
No, it definitely makes sense. But yeah, so anyways, I thought this was a funny little post and could kind of lead to some interesting topics of discussion here. So
I appreciate this. I think I should find this dude on Twitter or X or whatever and subscribe to him.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I would highly recommend it. I'll just post it kind of in our in the little stream chat here if people want to give him a follow. But yeah, he's working on the Rad debugger, which I believe now is kind of like open source. So it's kind of like a very extremely fast debugger, basically, that is like 3 megabytes large and um, you know
Oh,
cool stuff. So
yeah, yeah. I'll check it out.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is that. So yeah, now I think the next thing that we can go ahead and talk about is so a little while ago there was a bit of a controversy, a bit of a travesty in the games industry, and is kind of a big deal. And yesterday, that was finally
Oh,
rectified. Okay, so yeah, it kind of came to a close yesterday. It's finally been rectified. That what is this? Flappy Bird is coming back, people. Flappy
oh
Bird
wow.
is back.
You really pulled me. That was I was
3-1 for a
I
loop
was
there, huh?
Yes, yes, yes. It probably threw everybody for a loop.
So yeah, I don't know if you actually saw this. This actually happened
No.
yesterday. Flappy Bird is coming back.
Ah, so the dude has like run out of the money he made from the first time or something.
So yeah, this I don't know if it specifically says it in this article here, but um, I guess there's like some like Flappy Bird collective now that like purchased the actual Flappy Bird IP, and yeah, they're bringing Flappy Bird back to iOS and Android for release in 2025. And I mean, if you look at the screenshots here, I mean, there is like it seems like there's
Oh,
like a overworld like
yeah, they are going
like all this
ham.
artwork and yeah, different characters and different game modes and all kinds of things.
Hmm.
So, Flappy Bird is back only 10 years later.
Is it is it 10 years?
Yeah,
Damn. Oh
they
my
even say right
God.
here in 2014, Vietnam-based developer Dong Nguyen shocked the gaming world when he pulled the viral hit Flappy Bird from the App Store and Google Play Store, when it's making tens of thousands of dollars per day.
I remember him commenting somewhere like, "Yeah, I'm pulling it off because I'm getting death threats all the time from people who are addicted and blame him. So I'm
Yeah.
just gonna pull it off, and I'm gonna look back on an app again or app store again. Screw this shit. I'm retiring or something."
Dude, I mean, I don't know. I'd take 50K a day and a couple death threats.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I also live in America and I can protect myself, so I guess there's
Oh yeah, yeah, that's true. Uh,
but yeah, okay.
yeah,
The real article. All right, Unity's canceling the runtime fee. I had to bring it up. Um,
yeah,
yeah,
that
so
was
it
funny,
actually was
obviously.
kind of funny. They revealed this basically the on the 1 year anniversary of when they initially implemented the whole runtime fee thing here. Um, so yeah, if y'all don't remember, basically last year Unity kind of said that hey, we're doing this runtime fee, and the initial implementation of it was basically like if you've ever made a game with Unity, essentially this runtime fee could potentially apply to you, where it would cost you some certain number of cents per install, basically, and all this. Um, and there were definitely a lot of people who were very upset about how they just kind of like out of nowhere said, hey, we're kind of doing this, we're completely changing our business model and to this new runtime fee thing, and still still having paid licenses alongside it. And it was really confusing about a lot of their messaging about how they were going to kind of actually calculate the charges and all that. um, but to be fair, I kind of understand why I think they wanted to do it, is because they saw these like massive successful games like Genshin Impact and Marvel Snap and stuff like this that are making millions and millions of dollars and all this constantly. And he's like, hey, it'd be kind of nice if we get a little cut of that, huh?
Slice of that pie. Yeah.
Yeah, so I
Uh,
think that's kind
I,
of why they wanted to do this kind of like retroactive, application of the fee and all that. But were you gonna say something?
yeah, I was gonna say like I also think it's kind of reasonable for them to try to monetize that in like not exact that way. Obviously, I that is kind of crazy to but like exactly what you say. But I think that the most thing that like blew my mind was like, is it legal to do that kind of rug pull on people? Is there like
Yeah,
a terms of service thing that would prevent? I was so confused. I'm like, this is crazy.
right.
Like, do I have like And I remember how people how Stunlock bought a seat license for every person in when we started on Battle Right, and then like 2 3 years later, Unity came like about that. Do you guys maybe want to give us more money? We don't want you to have the seat thing anymore. And it is fair enough, but they had to sell it again basically to us because that's how it that's how the terms of service works, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, but I guess everything is going to SaaS, you know, software as a service,
Yeah,
and
so
then
it was that kind of before Unity had some kind of like annual subscription model?
yeah, well, it was sort of in the same vein, I think. But we started working on battle rights early 2015, I think.
Okay.
Uh, and by that point, I'm sure we had like seat-based licenses like that, just straight up. And I think at one point, you know, it was like, oh, yeah, they were trying to upsell. I don't know the details, obviously, but and I know from other studios that like Unity were like, oh, try to upgrade everybody to this nicer thing, and they were trying, yeah, upselling us to some sort of a per year, per month basis type of a deal,
Right.
and
Right.
yeah, and I get it. I actually do get it. It's like it's tricky to monetize, and maybe they didn't realize how long people would keep hold on to their seat licenses like that and not wanting to take part in the new deal.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like when it's like when you have a legacy phone subscription or carrier thing, and like they call like, oh, do you mind upgrading to our new unlimited blah 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 for just this much more money? Like, why? I am very happy. Well, we really 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 want you to not be on that old subscription because that's losing us money. So can
Yeah.
you please upgrade to this new one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, and yeah, it's like one of those things like, Unity, they're a very big company. I think even right now, after they went through a couple rounds of layoffs, they're still like just under 5,000 people big. And, from what I understand, it's only like about 1% of those people are like actual engineers working on the core engine.
Mm,
There are, of course, outside of that, people working on, some of the different packages and kind of like features for the engine. But then there's other teams who support things like the asset store, their ad platform, and all that. But there is just kind of it is a very large and complex company. A
yeah.
lot of moving parts going on, and you got to pay for that somehow. And yeah, so again, they kind of came out with this whole runtime fee thing, and then a couple weeks later, they kind of walked that back to have still some sort of the runtime fee kind of in place, but it didn't really, the terms weren't as aggressive, we'll say. Um,
Yeah.
One of the things is, again, kind of my, I guess, curiosity with kind of their newer iteration of this that they, are now counseling with their kind of like mentioned here is that like, I think one of the reasons that Unity implemented the runtime fee to begin with, and we're kind of going forward with implementing it so quickly, like they planned on having it active within only a couple months of when they announced it, is that I think because they wanted a lot of money as quickly as possible, basically, and then with this new iteration of this, this wouldn't start going into effect until Unity 6000 LTS basically goes into production, and then even then, um, you know, you'd have to like basically wait for a game that like met the threshold of having 1,000 basically purchases and making $1,000 in revenue a year, to the point where they could start getting a small piece of that. So it didn't really make necessarily a whole lot of business sense. It sounds like they wouldn't really be making a whole lot of money for potentially a number of years to make any significant amount of money from that. So that was kind of one thing that kind of stuck out to me. But yeah, now they've basically announced that they're completely canceling this runtime fee. But with that, they are upgrading the prices for Unity Pro by 8% and Unity Enterprise by 25%. Now they're saying, Unity Pro, you don't have to upgrade until you make $200,000 in US revenue. But I should also point out that there are, other reasons that you would want to purchase Unity Pro other than reaching that threshold. So, for example, if you want to develop for consoles, you need a Unity Pro license for that. So, this kind of affects maybe some of those smaller developers who are trying to develop for console. Maybe they're not necessarily reaching that 200,000 threshold just yet, but if they do want to develop for consoles, you do need to purchase that Unity Pro license. So, you are getting hit with that upgrade. And then as well as, for people like me and you, for people who are kind of like contractors who, support people who want to make, games for consoles. A lot of times, we're going to be on our own. I don't know about yourself, but, I'm on my own for purchasing my own, Unity subscriptions and all that. So, this is a small, price increase, for me in that case. So that is just kind of one other thing to consider. And again, if you want to develop for Apple Vision Pro or use Unity Havoc, that stuff is kind of, again, locked behind the Unity Pro subscription, which is now $2,200 per year. So, yeah, just want to
Yeah,
call that out a little bit. But do you have any thoughts on kind of the Pro and Enterprise pricing increases here?
I think it's kind of fair. I get it. They gotta make money.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean,
Yeah.
everything is getting more expensive, and of
I
course, they have to pay their workers more because of inflation, all this, and so they absolutely need more revenue. So yeah, the increase is completely understandable. While maybe a little bit annoying, again, completely understandable.
Yeah, I feel like I much rather have this than uh, the other types of software services or software products where that's free because you, there's a business model where you're the sort of butt of the joke they're collecting data on your
Where you
ads or
yeah.
whatever, and like just go and charge me, have fun. I rather that than you just shove ads in my face or sell my data
Right.
or
Yeah.
something.
It's kind of the old adage of if you're not paying for it, you're the product.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
So it's good. Good. Feels like they have found a reasonable CEO.
Yeah. Yeah. The guy seems to be good so far. And I would assume that he's going to be speaking at the Unite keynote. So we can hear a little bit more from Mr. Matthew Bromberg here. Um, Yeah, I also do just want to point out that Unity Splash Screen, the requirement, the made with Unity Splash Screen is now optional on Unity Personal Edition. So you don't need to purchase a paid license for that. And yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. They're canceling the runtime fee, and yeah, again, we'll see kind of what the vibe is from people at Unite, but it sounds like at least from what I've seen online and kind of in the game dev communities that I hang out in, people are pleased that Unity has removed this runtime fee because I know that it was definitely a large point of contention when they initially announced it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. Good stuff.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay. Yeah. So with that, again, we're going to be keeping it a little bit shorter episode here today, but I do just want to maybe show a little bit of code, something that's not necessarily completely dots related, but something that I did just kind of want to give a little bit of a shout out to some things that I was kind of working on.
Oh,
I'll start here. So I don't know if you've seen this website before, but it's called
yes.
easings.net. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So I'll go ahead and drop this in the chat here. So yeah, of
Very
course,
useful.
yeah. So yeah, you can kind of see these have like little sort of animations. If you look at kind of like the right side of this graph, you can kind of see this little kind of arrow kind of moving up at basically different speeds based off of these different easing lines. Now, the reason that you would want to use easing lines, especially in game development, is a lot of times when you're kind of like moving, from one object from one position to another. Kind of a naive solution might just be to do kind of like a linear interpolation from A to B, right? It's very easy to do inside of Unity with the built-in APIs and all that. But the movement looks like very robotic and mechanical, where it's just kind of like right.
Yeah.
So if you kind of like implement some type of easing, you can make it look a little bit more natural, or you can even really exaggerate it and make it look kind of more cartoony and animatic, and kind of give a lot of kind of additional flair to it. So this is a really cool website here, again, called easings.net. It shows you all these different sort of easing functions. And there are a bunch of different reasons why you might want to use some of these different ones. Um, for example, there's kind of some like some bounces and kind of like elastic movement and all this, and it's just kind of depending on what kinds of things that you're doing, you might want to use one over the other. And then, for example, you can kind of click on one of these here, and then it actually shows you kind of down towards the bottom the actual like mathematical function that you use to implement that in whatever kind of programming language that you want there.
Yeah.
So yeah, sounds like you're quite familiar with this website. Is this something that you try and use in a lot of your games, like these different types of easing functions for certain things?
I have more often actually just an animation curve to control, and but I don't know. I feel like I've overdone that a few times, so I'm planning. I haven't worked a lot with this kind of type of a thing for maybe half a year. But I feel like I'm probably gonna dial my animation curve implementations back and use more just straight up math functions like this. I don't need to solve a quadratic animation curve function every time I need to move something. If it's just a power of two, exponential thing, and it
Right,
will do the
right.
same thing. So yeah, but
Um,
also,
oh, you can go ahead and finish.
I just the the animation curves are kind of nice if you're making stuff for a designer or something to work with.
Right,
Then they
right.
are
Yeah, because
need
they
more
have that
control.
visual
But
control over it.
yeah, but
How do
otherwise
you
it's kind of
typically use animation curves with dots? Actually, I think you might have shown us this a while back, right?
yeah, yeah. I have actually, since Unity sort of forgot that they made a Unity dots animation
Oh
package.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
just share their animation curve baker into blob assets that I ripped out and
Right.
kept in my projects after they yeah, sunsetted that package. There's I can share it in this in the uh, GitHub in the chat again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Let me find it while we talk. Yeah, but yeah, that's how I do it. It's just straight up like that. But so much nowadays for me, it's not dots. It will be dots, hopefully very soon again. But so I haven't really had this issue for a while now, actually. So for me, it's mostly for me, I'm just doing a straight up animation curves in Unity, old-fashioned Unity game objects, and it works pretty good. But
Yeah.
these functions are it's surprising how many of these functions are like very very straightforward to do with just a few math things.
Yeah, yeah, they
I
they really are. So actually, let me show you one that I just used the other day, and I'm going to be showing you the kind of implementation of this. I think it is the ease in back is what I ended up going with. So yeah, you can kind of see you basically have the time axis kind of going down the okay. So this is the x axis is t and the y axis is x. Okay. So yeah, basically, yeah, this is kind of as time goes, and this is kind of like your x being your variable value, what you get kind of over time. So basically, you'll see that this kind of slowly kind of goes out and then sharply comes like back in, sort of the way it came, I guess. Um, and yeah, you can see if you scroll down to the bottom, again, the math function of this is very easy. You just kind of define two constants, and then you have, one constant multiplied by x cubed minus your other constant multiplied by x squared. And then actually there is another website you can go to. Um,
Desmos.
yep. So yeah, here is Desmos right here, and yeah, this must have been some other crazy calculation I have because I don't recognize this at all. But you can basically come in here, you can plug in that function, you can kind of define your different variables here, and then you can play with those values to manipulate your curve. So what I found out is, when I did just the base ease in back function, it got me like kind of the effect that I was going for, but like the values like weren't quite right. Like it kind of was like really slow at first, and then it was like super fast. So then I kind of went into Desmos and was just playing around with like manipulating that curve to get it to the point essentially where I wanted it to be.
Smart.
So
That's a good idea.
yeah, yeah. And then, so here is basically what I came up with. So this is kind of, again, back in this little DOTS Survivors project that I've been working on here. And we'll go ahead and do that. And let me turn off the enemy spawning for now. So yeah, basically we have kind of the, actually I should go to the player and just turn off all the attacks here. So yeah, basically, what happens in Vampire Survivors when you get close to an item, basically it kind of like basically kind of like pulls into you. It's kind of like there's like an attraction behavior essentially. But there's kind of like a little bit of a small effect that happens. Like when you kind of get in range, the item actually kind of goes away from the player first to kind of like signify like, hey, your player's picking this thing up, and then it kind of snaps back towards the player. So as you can see, if we say this is like a little coin up here, we get close to it, you see that it kind of like goes away for a second and then kind of comes back. So I'll go again here. And then, yeah, so I'm basically just kind of, again, using that ease in out function to essentially do kind of like a free animation almost, where it kind of like, goes away from the player and then out back.
Yeah,
Um,
nice.
and so I can kind of just show you basically what I have this here, this little system here. Um, so yeah, basically there's this kind of is attracted to player flag, and then if that's true, then it basically runs this easing function. So again, I had to do a little bit of manipulation for this. I kind of had to shift some things around a little bit, so that's why you'll see that I'm kind of, adding to some of these values here and all this, and then here are kind of some of my constants, and yeah, my constants are a little bit different than the ones that they had mentioned. But again, it's just kind of like a similar thing here, and you see that I just do this constant multiplied by essentially my x value cubed minus my other constant multiplied by the x value squared, and then adding in a y shift there. And then from that, then I can now do a linear interpolation
Yeah.
basically from the start position to the player's position, and I'm using the result of this as the t value of that linear interpolation. The
Yeah.
nice thing about the math.lerp function is that you can go out of bounds. So basically what's happening is, at the beginning, again, you see that it kind of dips, it basically dipped below that line. So it kind of gets to a negative number. And then the linear interpolation function, thankfully, can kind of like extrapolate that out. So that's how it kind of goes out, and then it kind of comes back in as time goes on. So very simple to do, actually. Again, just kind of plugging in these easing functions and using the linear interpolation to move it from its start position to the player's position. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that's as long as you can, manipulate it in a good way or design without, having to code a lot, or maybe the designer know a little bit of code to manage this, or if it's, locked and put away and it's just gonna do what it does and there's no reason to change it. This is for sure the best way to do nice and tight, snappy animation or small movements.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Between this type of movement and using noise, then Unity mathematic noise to do randomized thing between
Mm,
those two, you can solve all small tiny things. Like it's just so powerful to do predictable and unpredictable thing in a super efficient, fast way.
Yeah, no, I mean it is really amazing how much you can accomplish just with a couple simple tools and combining those in different ways in interesting ways and just doing slight manipulations on them to get them to get the resulting behavior that you want.
Yeah, yeah. Nice, nice.
So yeah, I just thought that was a fun little thing that I was kind of happy with that I came up with the other day, and it worked pretty well. And again, was super clean, and yeah, so just kind of wanted to show that here.
That's oh, yeah,
You're
you're
back.
back. I was like, oof, nice, looking good, and then and now I get it.
Yeah.
So I see. Yeah,
So yeah, I think that's pretty much just about all I got. I know you're kind of in the midst of a move right now, so we'll can kind of let you get
yeah.
back to it
Do,
here,
do,
but
do, do you want to see my mess?
let's see it. Okay, got the guitar.
All the cupboards, everything is completely empty. So everything is out here.
Yep.
So I'm like, I have one pile for secondhand, one pile for throwing out, one pile for keeping, and then like a gray area. Like I don't know if I'm gonna keep this or not. I should probably throw it away, but
How are you actually moving everything over? Are you you got like a truck or something?
my girlfriend is coming with the trailer yesterday tomorrow. But we already moved a ton of stuff
Okay,
already.
okay.
Yeah, it's just well, doesn't say much to you. 34, 36 square meters. It's you can't a small apartment, so it's not a lot to move. Yeah, and I have it for September out, so it's not like I can still manage everything after Barcelona if I need to. But it sucks to move, so I'm just like, yeah, I
I
get it
get
over
it.
with,
I get it. Yeah.
continue my life. Yeah, but I don't know where we are in the schedule since I am on one screen and focused on this, but yeah, I have something that I could. When it's a dynamic allocation, should I?
We could do that right now.
Yeah, all right. I just so have you heard about Tesla ass?
Tesla ass?
Yes, ASS.
I don't know. It doesn't ring a bell.
Uh, so, like 4 years ago, when Elon started to promise, well, he has promised full self driving or all the pilots for like 10 years now. It's like a meme, and he knows
Oh
it's
yeah,
so
yeah.
disgusting. But yeah, they're sort of leading. So I mean, they're getting there. But like 4 years ago, when they're getting into it with the new hardware, and like, yeah, now we're really gonna put the spin on this and really make it work. They put out something called Smart Summon. So it was like
Oh
basically,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
uh, you
One of my friends
you
had a
remember this?
wait, yeah, one of my friends had a Tesla, and he would kind of use it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like you parked at some parking lot, and then you can like go
Right. And it
to
just
the valet point, and you hold down
just
a
yeah,
button, and
and
the
pull up to you.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it was like 10% of the time it was sort of useful, and 90% of the time it was just stupid. And like Tesla knew it. They're like, our software stack is not good enough to execute this in a useful way at all. Yeah. So they sort of like, yeah, whatever, we tried. But now they have released apps, actually smart summon. Yes. So let me link. I'm just grabbing some random thing here. I'm sending you on. Let's see here on Discord. They have a link. I think it's a short one.
Let's start
It's
this
a little
over.
bit sped up, so yeah, somebody is holding down a button on their phone.
It is driving through this little parking lot here, navigating their way past a Cybertruck.
Yes.
They have Cybertrucks out there in Sweden.
No, I don't think they will get through pedestrian safety regulations.
So you never
Yeah, there's
you never seen a
we
Cybertruck in person?
no, have you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. A couple of them.
Yeah, they're crazy. Yeah, I do. Just completely nuts to see.
Yeah, I mean they look like they look in the pictures.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I think they might be doing something a little bit less extreme for the European markets because I don't think they're gonna be able to regulate the Cybertruck in the European safety. I don't think it's like a huge difference between the EU and America. But for pedestrian safety, I think there's like a one click up will really be annoying and like you can't do that on the road, period. And
Hmm.
in the freedom country of America, you're like, yeah, just who
Are there a
cares
lot
about
of
pedestrians?
are there a lot of pickup trucks in general out there?
No, we're like, I mean, we make fun of Americans for that. You have so much pickup truck. We're like, we just have the cars with a long tail.
Like a
Um,
limousine?
no, 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 no. In Sweden, we would have let's see here. If you just search for Volvo V70, that's like probably the most bought car in Sweden the last 30
Oh,
40
oh,
years.
it's like a wagon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Oh, yeah. The wagon is the word. Yeah.
yeah.
This is like we're like, why don't you have one of these? It's way better
Yeah.
mileage and looks kind of all right, and it's just super practical. But you have a pickup instead.
I don't know. I had a pickup for a long time and it was actually extremely useful.
Okay, I shouldn't say they are useful. I just say that some people buy them just because, like, yeah, you need to have a pickup so you can do whatever. While
Let,
in
let me see how many
reality, they're
pickup
barely
trucks I
used.
can see out my window right now. Hold on.
Oh wow, damn, that's crazy, huh? Out the window.
Only three.
Only three. Yeah, there's no. I think there could be like maybe you know radius of 300 meters around me in the middle of the city, and there's no pickup truck. Zero. There's a bunch of there's two or three of them at the farm I where I'm moving, but they use it
Yeah, yeah, because they're,
regularly
yeah,
and
on the
like
farm. They're
yeah,
hauling hay
yeah,
bales and all this.
yeah. But what do you think? Would you trust Tesla with Tesla software with your 50 $60,000 Tesla to not do run into curbs and smash your nice
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I guess the only thing is like, the only real danger at that point is like, it's such slow speeds. You're only really in danger of like getting a little bit of curb rash on your wheels or something.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it seemed like a super convenient feature to be honest. One of my previous coworkers, he had a Tesla, and he had like a fairly long commute to our office, and so he would basically just hit like the self-driving, like highway driving, and would just like chill out for his commute, basically.
Wait. Say. I missed something. Take that again.
So like he would
He.
basically just like get on the highway, and then he'd like do the little double tap thing to enable the
Oh, the
like it wasn't like the
full
full
self
self
driving.
driving, but it was
Oh,
like
it was
the
autopilot.
highway, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And so he,
And he
yeah,
would just
basically say
chill
he
out.
just like, yeah, chill out in his car, play around on his phone or something, which probably
Oh
shouldn't be
my
doing,
gosh.
but
I follow since I have quite a bit of money invested in Tesla and have gone very good with them for the last years or the last
nice,
half. I invested in them in 2016, so that's a long time ago.
nice,
Uh, yes, but I follow it because I want to know like where it's going. Is he gonna nail the full self driving, and are they gonna be like the world's most valuable company and stuff? And it's obvious that so many of the influencers they're like, I use it the way I should do. And when I'm recording and showing off the new software, I'm doing it but there's always whispers around about people, have like when you had the steering wheel mag, as they
Oh
call it,
yeah,
you're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, touch. You take like a orange and you
Put
squeeze
like
the
an orange in
orange.
there, yeah, to
Yes,
make
and
it
then you
think
like
it's your hand. Yeah,
just pushed it, and then you like this.
it's so
Like
bad.
that. Yes, and people like anti-Tesla people are like, oh, that's so bad. You shouldn't be able to sell that software and have people like that. I'm like, you have knives in your house that you can stab people with. There's plenty of stupid shit that you can do with things that any people can buy.
Yeah,
Like, if you don't use the product in a way that the manufacturer are trying to make you, then you like,
that's on you.
just maliciously trying to ruin yours or somebody else's life, sort of. And it's
Right.
like, yeah, it's I don't know. I think like as long as you're like, this is, you're still responsible. Keep your eyes on the road. Don't use cheap devices. Like, then I think you just release it, have fun, go. The responsible is the driver. Let Tesla go.
Yeah.
That's my view of it.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Now, I know we're
Yeah,
getting real sidetracked here, but are you familiar with the company Waymo at all?
yeah.
So yeah, they basically it's like a self-driving taxi essentially. So they're not allowed to
Subsidiary
go
of Google, right?
probably. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
think they are subsidiary of Google. Yeah, continue.
So yeah, one of the cities they're in is where my little brother lives, and he came out to visit me a couple weeks ago. And when he was going to the airport, they ordered a Waymo to go pick him up. It can't drive on the highway right now. It can only do. It's only like rated for like driving on the streets and everything. But like they're close enough to the airport where it's kind of still convenient for them. But he said that when it pulled up, they had, I guess, like a big rainstorm the night before. And then it pulled up into a parking lot and parked like literally in the middle of this giant puddle. So they had to like walk through this puddle. And they also got picked up at like 3 in the morning or something like that because they had a
Just
pretty
couldn't
early
see.
flight. Well, no, no. So they could see, but there were like it was like in like a Denny's parking lot. And so people like
Oh.
were like hanging out at like the bars or whatever the night before, and so they like came out and they're all having a good time and they're like laughing because this like stupid robotic car pulls up in the middle of this puddle and my brother and his poor fiance are like having to wade through this puddle with their bags to like load into this car and they're like have their phones out filming them.
I think that's the difference with the like Waymo's approach. I'm not super familiar with Waymo like that. I know the tech that they're using, what their approach is. They have LiDAR and they have like a full server rack in the back seat, basically,
Oh
or
yeah, yeah,
the like.
it's a whole operation.
Yeah, it's like a huge thing. And I feel like they are more like a on rails, more or less, because they have HD maps instead of Tesla is just cameras, because like humans use just camera. So I think like puddle thing, that's a typical example of like exactly what you get when you just
Right.
go
Drop a
by
pin
simple
here.
rules.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. I think it's fascinating when you see a Tesla coming in a situation, because the it's trained on like end to end. So it means like you just like video in, photos in, and controls out, and that's how it's trained. So it's like giving the circumstances, what's the likeliest move I should do with the pedals and the steering wheel, and you get into these weird situations where the car is not allowed to reverse yet. So you set them up for a situation where it's like, obviously you do a reverse and the situation is super simple, but you cannot solve it if you don't have reverse. You can see how the car just does everything and it expect to be able to reverse, and then it's not allowed to reverse. And I think it's like so you can see how it's like just does whatever is the most likeliest move on like a statistical basis, what the humans have done in the trading data, right? And in that case, with the puddle, it would be like statistically speaking, it's not a good idea to stand here because they're gonna move 2 meters forward,
Right, right,
and they
right,
will.
right.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm excited to see if when Tesla challenges Waymo with actual driverless taxis.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way,
Yeah,
speaking of Elon Musk, shout out to SpaceX and the first commercial spacewalk, which is crazy.
yeah, crazy. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, and I think they also went the furthest an astronaut has gone since the Apollo missions, basically.
Yeah, I heard something online.
Like
Yeah, 3 times
three times
farther than
higher than
the
the International Space
conventional.
Station.
Yeah, yeah,
It's cool stuff.
yeah. Go private space companies. I guess there's so many now. So
Yeah,
it's
except
like
except for one. Except for one.
which
Boeing.
which one? Oh yeah, okay, yeah, yes. But they're halfway not private, right? Aren't they? No, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm confusing them with somebody else.
They're private,
I've
but I
never.
mean they're heavily government subsidized.
Yeah, they're like GM, Government Motors.
GM is General
Just
Motors.
yeah, I know, but the
Oh,
joke is
oh,
because
okay,
they
okay,
went
okay.
bankrupt
I
and got
see. Ha
bailed out
ha
after
ha. Yes, yes.
2008.
I get you. Okay.
I don't know. Ford, they muddled through, and actually have never gone bankrupt. So they are not in the pocket of the government.
Well, if
Oh,
you want to
anyway.
do funny acronyms about motor companies, Ford would be found on roadside dead.
Found on roadside. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
Fair enough.
always like the Chevy guys are like, oh, you got a Ford, your truck's found on roadside dead.
Yeah.
Anyways,
All right. Anyways, yes.
and
I think.
then I guess I should just share something here. Um, Casey Muratori put out this video a couple weeks ago. Not sure if any of y'all saw this here, but I'll go ahead and post this in here.
See that the rest of the
It
GPC
is kind of like a look into the architecture of like how actual like CPU and GPU physical dies are constructed,
Hmm.
and like a breakdown of like all the different sections of them and like kind of like what they are. So it's like a really interesting overview into kind of like how CPUs are manufactured and work and everything like this. He does put part one on this video, so I'm assuming this is going to be kind of like part of a series. And this
Yeah.
again video is just kind of available on his YouTube channel and everything. So yeah, he kind of shows the difference between like CPU cores and GPU cores, and the differences of those, and kind of some of the interesting things that come with the whole manufacturing process for CPUs and GPUs. So I think it's a
I gotta
good,
watch that.
yeah. I think it's like is for me it was like nothing I didn't know kind of coming from the IT world, but I think it's just like a really good explanation. Like I'm super comfortable with like sharing this with anyone who like wants a very approachable introduction to the overview of CPUs and all that. So yeah, I would highly recommend checking out. And then also like when I was searching for this video, I came across, I guess he might have done another stream with the Primogen, and these have always been really entertaining that he's done.
Super
So
nice.
yeah, I'll go ahead and share that one off in the chat as well. But yeah, that's
All right.
that's about kind of all we got for here today. Again, thank you for joining us all, and of course, we're going to be in Barcelona next week for Unite. I'm not sure what the plan for the Hot Path show is going to be. If we want to end up doing something kind of live or something from Barcelona at some point, because
We
the
find
three of us are going to be there in person.
some Dance Revolution thing and have a dance off and see who wins and then we I don't know.
Yeah, there's going to be all kinds of fun out there. I know Danny and I are going to be doing a live stream on the Friday around 12:40 p.m. local time in Barcelona. I think this is just going on to Unity's Twitch channel, I assume. It sounds like they're going to be doing a bunch of streams throughout the week. So yeah, Danny and I got one for there, and yeah, other than that, should be a fun time.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it
Yeah,
very much.
absolutely. Well, yeah, as we go ahead and close out our show here today, I do just want to give a quick shout out to our Patreon supporters, especially those over on the CPU register tier, which is our highest tier. So thank you very much to eCool and Hakan for your support. We really do appreciate it. And yeah, go check out our Patreon and YouTube memberships for fun additional bonuses for the Hot Path show. And yeah, with that, Tobias, you got any parting words for us, words of wisdom?
Try to live a minimalistic life. This shit is not fun to put up. Yeah, it's all good.
That's not bad advice there. But yeah, take care, everyone. Thanks for joining us, and yeah, hopefully see some of you at Unite later.